Welcome to my podcast, which is called I Do What I Want. I am your host, Hollis. Well, Hollis Joe McCullum is my full name, which you can find all my books under that. But of course, my name is just Hollis. Please don't call me by my full name. If you found me on the street, it's going to be a little weird. Anyway, Happy New Year! If you're watching the video, you can see my cool little party lights that I use when I am pole dancing. Because I thought, let's make this fun. So this episode is all about the new year. We are going to be talking about everything I have going on in 2023 that I know about so far. So I'm really excited about that because I actually have a lot that I've been planning, a lot that I've been working on, and I'm still working on. So first up is I am going to be on the Drinking with Authors podcast. Yay! We are recording in a couple of weeks. They said that it will take up to 2 months for the episode to actually air, but the Drinking with Authors podcast is a lot of fun. As per the name, you have a beverage while you talk about your books and have a really, really good time. They're great. You should check them out. They're on Instagram and all the things, and they're on pretty much every podcast platform you can think of. I will look up the link and put it in the little right up below. Excuse me. Sorry. Had a little frog there. So, other than the Drinking with Authors, so again, recording in a couple weeks, on January 21st actually, but then that will probably air sometime in March, maybe. Maybe late February, early March. I will make sure to announce the specific date of the episode as it comes, and I hope to be doing more podcasts for other people's podcasts. I actually, in 2017, 2018, I was really prolific with doing podcasts before I had my own, and I did over a dozen. But, those interviews are outdated now, and I need to get back on the ball because I have more books and stuff. So I need to let people know about it, right? The other thing, the other things I have going on in order of appearance, or in order of them happening, is going to be the Writer's Workshop, which I have been wanting to talk to you more about. I just needed to wrap my brain around all the planning and everything else. So, the Writer's Workshop is going to be via Zoom, first of all. So, anywhere in the world that you are, sign up. I'm also going to have it available via recording. So if you are in Australia or some time zone, because I'm on the U.S. East Coast time zone, so, the New York time, essentially. So if you are 12 hours different from me or some crazy stuff like that, that doesn't matter, because if you pay for the workshop, I'm going to record the whole thing, and then you can Q&A with me online, anything like that outside of the workshop. So the Writer's Workshop will be, I'm planning for a 2-hour workshop. I'm planning for a 2-hour workshop to get everyone. If I have a lot of people sign up, because I'm not going to put a cap on it because I have a Zoom subscription. Well, at this point, I'm not going to put a cap. If I get super fortunate and a bunch of you start signing up, I'm probably going to cap it at about 25 people, because I don't think I can give appropriate attention to more than that. But, more than 25 live people. But if you want to purchase the recording, it will be available. And of course, you can always ask me questions online, that sort of thing. I'm really, really happy to do that. And of course, one of the reasons that I'm doing this workshop is because, and I'm grateful for this, but people tend to DM me on Instagram and YouTube and, other places on social, just saying, hey, I just have questions about writing. And for some reason, they choose me to ask, which I'm so flattered and happy. But it's probably because I have that teacher energy. A lot of you don't know this. I worked in higher education for 7 years. I'm also a TEFL certified instructor, which means teacher of English as a foreign language. I'm internationally certified to do that. And I did teach English in the Czech Republic for about a year. So and I've been a fitness and dance instructor for over a decade. So teaching comes pretty naturally to me. I really do love it. And yeah, and I think people might sense that energy from me on YouTube and all that other stuff. And so people ask me questions and I'm really happy to answer them. But I thought, you know what? Why not consolidate this a little bit? If people can ask me their questions all in one space and maybe brainstorm with other people in the process, then that would be really, really helpful. And that's what I really want. This workshop will specifically be on character development. It's not going to be on, I'm going to keep it specific to that. If it goes well, I do plan on doing a workshop like that, again, always via Zoom, quarterly, so at 4 times a year. This workshop that I will be doing on character development, where I'm going to take you through the whole creative process, and we're going to brainstorm together. You will create at least one character. If you get really inspired, make 2. I would love that. But we're just going to go step by step through. I am gonna give you tasks, and it'll be like fun school. School that's fun. School is fun. I don't know. I'm a teacher. I like school, and I liked school when I was a kid. I was definitely the teacher's pet. But the workshop will be, you'll have assignments, you'll have steps that you do, but it will also be a really, really creative space. I like to give people the tools and to create, but then a lot of the time people just need a structure to make their characters wonderful, and then once you hand them a little bit of structure, then they go off and they create something just that you wouldn't even fathom. It's so beautiful. And that's what I want. I want to just kind of give you the tools and put you in that organizational headspace where you can be creative, but you have your goals set and everything. You say, okay, I'm not gonna run off and just start thinking about snacks in the kitchen and things like that. I'm going to focus in a way that allows my mind to flourish and bloom with new ideas and with just all of this. And I'll be there, of course. I want to give every person in the workshop individual attention. And honestly, one of the things I'm excited about is in the workshop, with people kind of sharing and everything, hopefully we'll be able to sort of feed off of each other and just really create that beautiful brainstormy space that will help you create some characters or better flush out the character that maybe you've had in your brain and they're wiggling around in there, but you can't quite form them. They haven't quite become a person yet to your story. So that is what the workshop is going to be. And I'm going to be charging $25 per person, and that's for the full 2 hours, plus anyone who attends live will also get the recording for reference. So I feel like that, just in case you're going, God, that one thing that somebody said and blah, 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 I want to remember it. Great. You're going to have the recording so you can go back and reference it, even if you attended live. And like I said, those of you who can't attend live because of work or time zone or whatever conflict you might have with the live timing, you could still purchase it for the same exact price. And if you want to set up a one-on-one with me as, a consultation, or just DM me on Instagram and ask me questions there, please, please do. I would really appreciate that. And I really, like I said, I love to teach, and I love to watch people like run off and just create imaginative, beautiful, wonderful things, or scary, horrific things, whatever your writing style is. And I'm really looking forward to that workshop. I'm planning on having the workshop sometime in mid-February. And I will be posting on my website, and I'll put a link in my, I have a link tree on my Instagram profile with @HollisJoMcCullum on Instagram. That will be there, that you can sign up for the workshop. And of course, I'll just need your email, and when the time gets closer, I'll send you the Zoom link for the workshop. All you have to do is log in, and I will also be With that email, I will also be sending you probably a couple of materials that I just want you to have. It'll be things like pen and paper, of course, but I do have some character sheet, role play style character sheet tools and things that you don't have to use, but that I am going to provide to you in the form of a PDF. So if you wanted to print them out and use them, I think that's great. I think you should. So I'll be providing you with some materials and things like that prior to the workshop, and just letting you know in general how, what you need to be prepared with. You really, you're just going to need your mind, but, definitely some paper and something to write with so that you don't forget all your amazing, wonderful, awesome ideas. And, yeah, that's, so the workshop, I'm really, really genuinely excited about that. Also coming up, I'm publishing, I know I've been talking about The Queen Witch, which is the sequel to Save a World. I'm going to be posting some more teasers from The Queen Witch with quotes and things like that from that book. Of course, The World of Rashawn is back, and I don't want to give you any spoilers, but all your favorites who survived the first book are back in the second book, and it is a totally, it's the continuation of their life, of their lives and what happens in their lives following. But I do like to write my books so that everything isn't the story itself, like the conflict that occurs in that book it's a single book thing. I don't write trilogies. At this point in my writing life, I'm not writing trilogies. I'm writing series, and each book could stand alone. You don't necessarily have to read the first to read the second and fully enjoy the story. However, I will say, since if you read the first book and you're more aware of what the characters have already been through and what that struggle is, then you enjoy the second book more. So, and you get more of the inside jokes, because of course I have inside jokes. Of course I throw in some little like Easter eggs from the first book that if you read the first book, you go, of course that king's still mad at them. No, he's not going to give them their stuff. And you'll understand why the king doesn't like them in the second one, or all of that sort of thing. So yeah, The Queen Witch, I have pretty much finished the cover design. The book is written. I'm still playing with my editing. I'm really, really excited about it. Quite honestly, I feel like this book for me is maybe my best so far. Not that I've written a ton of books, but it's one where I really found myself as a writer feeling most engrossed, and honestly, like, just the characters just ran away and they just were doing their thing and I was keeping up, which when you're writing, I feel like that's the best kind of writing, when the story just takes you into it and you're just like, okay, well, Tanya would do that, and you go forth. There are a couple of new characters. Tanya, the name I just mentioned, I love her. She's of course, the other characters have aged a little bit. It does take place 20 years after. And those of you who have read To Save a World, you know that, and this is not a spoiler, but you know that my characters are elves. There really aren't I don't really have any main characters that are human in the first book. The wizard started out as human, but, magic prolonged his life, so he's not really, but everybody's very, very long lived. So 20 years to an elf would be roughly the equivalent of like 5 years later to a human. So they're still about, they've moved on to the next stage of their lives, but they're really not that much old. They're pretty much still in the same physical condition they were, all these things. So even though it's 20 years later, the world is very different, but they, as very long-lived elves, they're essentially only 5 years older than than what you would perceive them. So they look the same, all these things. But Tanya is actually an introduction. She's the first human main character I have in my Rashawn series, what I'm now calling the Rashawn series, because Rashawn is the name of the world. So that was easy. There you go. And she is a young wizard. She is only about 22 years old, but I love her. She's really strong. She's untested. And she's really smart, but she has her own kind of growing up journey to do, and she has a lot of self-discovery in it. Like, she already knew who she was, but she was, when you're 22 years old, even if you are confident in who you are, you still don't know what you're capable of yet. You know what you want to do. You hope that you're brave enough, strong enough, whatever, but until the world comes and tests you, you don't know. So, yeah. That's something that's really exciting. And Tanya is one of the new characters, and she definitely gets tested, and she will absolutely continue on in later books. And frankly, I just really love her personality. I do. And then we also have another new character named Jess, or Jessinda, but Jess for short. And she is a half-elf, so her father was human and her mother is an elf. And she plays a very pivotal role as well, and she's just... I love my new characters. I love it. I love my old characters. I love my new characters. Everybody's great. So I'm just so excited to share the Queen Witch with you. They're magical beings. There are fairies, but fairies with a twist. These are not fairies that you would have seen in, classical fanciful movies and things like that. Not like tiny people with wings. Those aren't the fairies I'm talking about. And again, this isn't a spoiler, but the fairies... I promise this is no spoiler on the plot, but I do want to share that the fairies in the Queen Witch are fairies that are... I was thinking about what makes a fairy. And they are basically sentient plants. Because fairies, presuming, if a fairy were real here... then they would have to be able to blend in with all of the flora, fauna, that sort of thing. And people think that they don't exist because they just never see them. Because they look exactly like plants. Because they essentially are sentient, magical plants. And so I had a lot of fun with the different fairies and descriptions. So you have fairies that are trees. You have fairies that are tiny little flowers. You have fairies that are bushes and all these other things. And depending on the size of the fairy and what type of plant they are, they have different capabilities, different appearances, different ways they move, all that sort of thing. So I really love that. And I had such a fun time writing it. I really did. The further development of the characters that you know from To Save a World, I enjoyed further delving into them and writing about them in the next stage of their lives. So I really, really... Can you tell I like it? That is coming out. I'm going to have it published in April of this year, 2023. It's the first day of the new year. So when I'm recording this podcast, which is right now. So yeah, it's going to come in just 4 months. I know with me saying I have it written, but anybody who's a fellow writer, author, it takes a few months just to get everything really buttoned up, make it beautiful, make it pretty. And so in April, look for the Queen Witch. I'm designing the cover for that. I'm also doing my own page layout. As many of you know, I am a designer as well as a writer, and I like to draw and paint and everything. So, and I actually designed book covers for a poetry publisher called Red or Green, but Red is spelled READ, like I read a book. Red or Green Publishing. They're based out in New Mexico, but yeah, so I do cover designs for them, which I'm really happy to do and proud of, and I do my own cover designs a lot of the time. So I'm doing that, and then after I designed the cover for The Queen Witch, I decided I really wanted to redesign the cover for To Save a World, because I wanted all of the books in the Rashan series to be cohesive and have a similar look and feel and look like a beautiful set when you had them on your shelf. And it's all pretty with similar, they just look good together. You know that's a series, you know they belong together, all of that. So I'm going to be re-releasing To Save a World. So the first edition of To Save a World, if you've got it, awesome. And I also designed that cover, as many of you know. But I'm redesigning the cover. I'm going to be doing a lot of editing because also, as many of you may have noticed who read the book, or maybe you didn't, maybe you got so engrossed and you didn't notice, but I noticed as the author, that it was my first venture into publishing, all of that, and frankly, I had a crappy editor. I did. I doubt they even read my book. And even though I did my own self-editing, when they transferred everything from the Word document that I had originally sent to them into the page layout, and I'm sure those of you who do these things, you understand that transferring things, especially files of that size, the book is about 425 pages long, files of that size, into a new program for page layout or design or whatever, that actually can cause things like periods to become commas and like all these, spacing issues and all sorts of stuff that you have to go back and fix. So even though I had sent them a fully edited copy of the book, which wasn't perfect and their editor should have looked at it, I don't even think they did. I think they did nothing, but to be very honest, I think they did a whole bunch of nothing, because I still find issues when I open up my published book. And then when it went into page layout, I wasn't looking at it as an editor when they sent me the page layout. I just looked at how chapters were formatted, make sure spacing looks good, and da-da-da-da-da. But their editor should have been responsible for looking at all of those little things, like the punctuation changes and things like that, and they did not. Because there was a lot of stuff where a sentence ends in a comma instead of a period. And let me tell you, it drives me nuts. So I'm fixing all of it. I am fixing all of those little grammatical things. I am going to be, since I'm doing the page layout and everything, and I'm re-editing, the new edition of To Save a World is going to have a full spread map in it, as will The Queen Witch. You have a full spread map of the world with all the places they visited. You can open it up, and I love doing that. And I'm sure most of you do too, especially if you're a fantasy reader and you don't know where if a book is taking place on Earth, then it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, I know exactly where they are. But if your book is taking place in a fantasy world or an unfamiliar place that you just don't know, it's really great to have that map in the beginning so that it's fun. And I love it. And I know that other readers love it and other writers love it. So I will have a full spread, 2-page spread map at the beginning that you can reference, that has been made forever, and I'm going to have a list of the books in order in the Rashan series, which is another thing. I'm bringing back a lot of stuff that was popular in book series when I first started reading as a kid, but I noticed they stopped doing, and I'm bringing it back. So To Save a World, the new cover redesign, it's going to have all the stuff, but on the spine, it's going to say the Rashan series, Volume 1. And when you open it up, you'll have the map, you'll have all of that, but you're also going to have a page that says the Rashan series, and it will tell you To Save a World is first, The Queen Witch is second, and there's going to be more to come, I promise. I actually am really enjoying playing with this world more, and I will write more in it, but I'm just gonna keep all of that alive, and I'm doing chapter titles, and I might go back. I'm doing chapter titles in all of the Rashawn series, the Queen Witch. There are titles for every chapter, which brings me joy, and I hope it brings you joy too. But I will be doing all of those things in Two Step World. I'm going to go back. I'm going to add chapter titles. I'm going to add all of the design stuff I'm talking about with the map and the new pages and just making it really pretty and nice. So To Save a World will be re-released after the Queen Witch. At this point, I'm going to say May or June of 2023. Honestly, it depends on how the editing goes. So if the software runs really smoothly and it does what I want and everything else, and I don't have to take hours and hours and hours of design time fixing every little thing, then May. But if I have to spend like 15 hours fixing widows and commas and all that other stuff and just spacing issues that I do one thing and it messes up 200 pages, it's gonna be June. So we will find out, but I'm really excited. I will be doing the cover reveal, or the cover reveals for the Queen Witch and To Save a World at the same time. So those cover reveals are going to come to you in March. I'll probably do an individual cover reveal for both, but then I'll do a little like duo cover reveal video or something, because now that I'm getting into it and creating book trailers and all that other stuff, I'm kind of getting excited about playing with video editing now that I'm learning how to do it and it no longer frightens me. So that is really exciting. So I'm republishing one, but I'm publishing 2 books this year in the fantasy series of Rashawn. So that's wonderful. The other stuff I have going on, sorry, I'm checking my notes if you see me looking away. So, of course, I'm going to, okay, wait, sorry. Rewind. So, I'm doing the Drinking with Authors podcast, which should be out sometime probably in March, or late February, early March for live. I'll, again, keep you updated there. Publishing The Queen Witch, sequel to To Save a World, which, honestly, my beta readers, they love it. They do. And they say that they honestly might even love it more than the first. And yay. I know I talk about my mom a lot on this podcast, but I think my mom said that she enjoyed it the most out of all of my books so far. And my mom is, not only is she one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporters, which I love, 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 but she's also one of my best editors. And I know, not everyone is that fortunate. I am very, 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 very fortunate and appreciative of both of my parents and all of the help that I've been given. Frankly, all the talent that they both possess to be able to offer me the kind of support to help me edit and give me such wonderful advice. So, but yes, and she's always honest with me. She's always kind, but she is always honest with me, and which again makes her one of the best editors I have, because I know that whatever she tells me, if she says something isn't good, it's not good. I have to accept that. And yeah, and she'll tell me. So I love that. And she said that The Queen Witch, so far for her, of the 3 books of mine that she has read, she likes that one. So yay! I love that. And I think she found it to be the most engrossing of the 3. So yeah. So I've got that one coming out. I'm re-releasing To Save a World, which will be, nothing will ever be perfect, but it'll be way better when it comes to the editing and the punctuation and all those little things that I miss. Plus, I'll get to add in all the things that previous publisher, who I will never work with again, said that I would have to pay extra to do. And I shouldn't have had to, that was just a bunch of bull. So, that was money grubbing on their part. So I've got those four things going. Of course, the Writers' Workshop, yay! Ongoing things that will be happening oh no, sorry, I forgot again. Dragon Con. Okay, let me get my head together. Let me get all of this, anyway, this is live on YouTube, so people who are listening on Spreaker and Spotify, I don't bother to edit my oopsies out, because you know what? I hope that just makes me more human and relatable to you, because my brain is sometimes in quite the fog. But Dragon Con, I am not guaranteed, but I am applying to be a vendor at the mart, or at the dealer's room in Dragon Con. I, of course, will be selling my books. I will be dressing up as my characters while I man the booth, because as many of you might realize or know from my, social media and everything, I am a cosplayer, and I have been for years. Since I was 12 years old, I've been cosplaying. I'm not saying I'm the best one out there, but gosh, it's so much fun. I love it. And I love creating the costumes, and I especially love creating original character costumes. And of course, my own original characters are more fun, especially since I made them up. So whatever details are going on, I decide what they look like, which makes it easier for me to build. And I will be not just selling my books and looking cool, but I will also be selling swag to go with my books. I am going to be definitely selling mugs. I am going to be selling these beautiful little paperweights, blue glass paperweights that I painted to look like the World of Rashan, that I hand painted. So they're pretty. If you are curious, I'll repost the little globes on my social. I have a few posts of them already. And I'm going to be doing some t-shirts, probably some tote bags to carry books in. That is super important. And just a few other things that are and bookmarks, obviously. All authors, I feel we are obligated to have bookmarks, but I design my own bookmarks, as I design my own book covers and all my own swag. So when you come to my booth at Dragon Con, which, again, nothing firm yet, but I am applying, I'm in touch with the people who run the dealer's room and who organize everything, and frankly, they seem to really like, and the people who runs who makes the final decision about who gets a booth, they're like, I really like everything you're offering, and make sure to email me personally. So I'm pretty sure that as long as I get my application in, I'm going to have a table. So look for me at Dragon Con. Come find me. Come see me. I'll sign books for you. Which, by the way, if you've already purchased a copy of my book and you want to bring it, my signature is free. Just show up. And hand it to me. And the same goes with if you purchase my book while you're there. Again, my signature is free. I will happily sign the book for you. All you have to do is have a copy. All you have to do is have already purchased or purchase a copy right in front of me. And if you would like a signature, just let me know and I will sign it. And I would love to sign it. And I hope that it's worth something someday, or, just emotionally worth something to you. So yeah, come stop by, come see me, get a cool tote bag to carry all the cool stuff that you're going to buy, not just at my booth, but at other people's booths too. And maybe a mug to drink your awesome tea or coffee out of, or whatever beverage makes you glad. And, I'm going to have some other things that probably some art prints that I make. I'll make some printed maps, that, because I draw and paint my own stuff. So I'll have some maps that you can, of the World of Rashan and the World of Sel, which is the world from Spare the Swallow, that you can purchase, and lots of book swag in addition to the books themselves. And, and I always tell people, hey, if you want to chat with me about my books, of course I love that. Please. All of us want to talk about it. All authors are like, yeah, talk to me about my books. I love it. We just don't want to be the jerk who's like, hey, do you want to talk about my books? So please, if you want to talk to me about my books, talk to me. I love it. Do it. So come, you can message me online and I'll talk to you about my books. I'll just, if I'm afraid I'm going to say something that's a spoiler, I will be like, listen, are you okay with me telling you this? Have you already read this? And I'll make sure you're okay with knowing certain information before I divulge. I try to be very conscientious of that as an author, because I don't want to ruin things for you. But if you say you're cool, I'm telling you. So that's how that works. Other than being at DragonCon Dealer's Room, very exciting. I haven't decided. I'll be at Multiverse. I don't think I'll have a booth, but I'll definitely be attending Multiverse in Atlanta in October in 2023. And other things that are just ongoing that I'm going to get really, really good about updating. And I've been getting better. I have been getting better. But my website and blog, I will be updating the blog and at least once a month. I usually do an e-blast about once a month, maybe twice a month if I have a lot going on, to the people who have subscribed. I don't email people who haven't subscribed. But if you've subscribed and you're cool with it, you maximum will get one email a month from me, and it will be an announcement about like, hey, this is published. Hey, I have something new going on. Fun stuff. I'll just let you know something fun that's happening. And that will be the blog. But once a month, at least, hopefully twice a month, I will be updating my website. I'll be updating the blog and just giving you something to keep up with, so that everything is in one place for you. And again, if you know, my website, HollisJoMcCullumAuthor.com, that one is kind of my nucleus for everything. So if you go to HollisJoMcCullumAuthor.com, you can find links to all of my social media. You can find links to all of the book buying. You can find, message me. You can, read the blog. It is the nucleus, the pivot point for everything I do online. So if you find me there, you can find me everywhere online. The other thing was, so I should definitely keep it going, right? The podcast, the podcast will continue to be twice a month on Sundays, usually every other Sunday. Obviously, today, January 1st, will be that. And then the next episode, I should have really looked at the calendar, January 15th. January 15th will be the next episode of the podcast, and I am not 100% sure what that episode is going to be about yet. I might do another character study. Maybe. Or I just might talk about writing some more, just like some of the things, and I always say it's my personal journey, but I have had a lot of feedback from people who have listened to the podcasts where I've talked about my publishing journey and just character development and that sort of thing, that they like those episodes. So if you want, if you want a certain thing, comment, message me, let me know. I'm honestly very curious. Yeah, just give me some content, honestly. Just let me know what you people want. Let me know what the people want, and I will do my best to provide. Obviously all creatives and people who are out there putting something into the world, we work best with some feedback. So please let us know what speaks to you the most. But regardless, I will do my utmost to continue putting out a podcast twice a month on Sundays, and hopefully bringing you information that you feel enlightened or entertained by, or both. And that's going to continue. And like I said before, I will be doing, if the workshop this February goes really well and I have a lot of people sign up and people seem to dig it, then I will plan another workshop, not on character development. The first workshop will be, maybe the next workshop will be on world creation or plotting out your story or whatever, but I'll have a quarterly writers workshops, which for those of you who aren't in the business world or who just aren't familiar with the terminology, there are 4 quarters in the year. The first quarter is January to March, and second quarter is April to June, then July to October, and then October, December. So I'll have, a little writer's workshop in the middle of each quarter, if you so desire. And like I said, I love to teach, so I will continue doing that if the February character development workshop looks good. And then the other thing, let's see, what else do I have? Oh my goodness. The other thing I have is that I am writing, so I'm still working on editing with The Queen Witch and To Save a World and but I am in the middle of writing the first draft of the next book in the series that started with Spare the Swallow, which, as you know, if you've read or listened to anything, Spare the Swallow and To Save a World, two totally different worlds. It's both fantasy, but Spare the Swallow is actually more historical fantasy, and To Save a World is like pure fantasy, like totally other planet, not whatever. But Spare the Swallow is more of a historical fantasy situation, and that is a lot of fun. Obviously, it's fiction and everything, but it deals a lot more with themes from the ancient world and the ancient Earth world. Though the world in Spare the Swallow is the world of Sel. But anyway, read it and find out, because it's all based, a lot of it is based on the ancient Mediterranean culture of the Etruscans, and things like that. So that's really fun. I'm writing the next book in that series, and again, no spoilers, but if you've read Spare the Swallow, you know that there is a potential for basically endless books in that series. Again, I write my books so that you have a complete story in every novel. I do not do cliffhangers at the end of books, because when I'm a reader, it kind of makes me sad if there's a cliffhanger and then the author takes years to write the next book, or maybe never writes the next book, and then you're a very sad panda for a while, and boo-hoo. So I don't do that, because it makes me sad as a reader when authors do that. So even though you'll be dealing with the same characters in the same world and, all that sort of thing, you have a complete adventure in each of my books. You're not going to be left hanging with, oh my God, did they resolve that? No, they will resolve whatever the conflict is, one way or another, or maybe not, but it's going to end. That storyline will finish in my novels, and but it is better to read my books in order, because then, for the sake of living through things with the characters, you get it. So yeah, but I'm in the first draft of writing that one, and my big plan, is to be able to publish one book a year. And right now, the publishing one book a year thing, I'm going to be volleying back and forth between the 2 series that I write, or at least that's the current plan. If inspiration starts to hit me in other ways, then maybe I'll do like 2 books in a row for the Rashawn series and 1 book in a row for what I'm planning on calling the Beacon Chronicles. For the Spare the Swallow again would be the first book in that series, but I'm going to call the series something like that, the Beacon Chronicles, or Chronicles of the Lost, or whatever. Some the Chronicles. I like that, as many writers do. So there will be 2 separate book series. So this year I'm publishing The Queen Witch from the Rashawn series. So next year, I'm not sure when yet, maybe sometime in the fall, depending on how editing goes, I will hopefully be publishing the next book in the Beacon Chronicles, which, yeah, so in 2024, look for another book from me. So look for a book from me every year, once a year. This is something that as a writer, I want to do. And, as I become more and more professional, or to try to become more and more professional and business-minded, business-minded with the way I handle the organization of my writing. Of course, my writing is all fantasy, tra-la-la, whimsy, which is much more fun to read. But as far as me organizing myself and staying on track and trying to give everyone something to read, I'm treating it a lot more like an adult and a lot more like a business because that's what I want. I love it. I genuinely do. I'm very passionate about it. And I hope that you enjoy the writing. I know that the reviews that I get are wonderful, and I'm incredibly, unstoppably grateful for that. So thank you so much for all of the feedback. I love it. And that's what I've got brewing for 2023 so far. It's a lot, and I'm excited, and I hope you're excited too. Drop me a message, say hello on Instagram. Again, my Instagram handle is @HollisJoMcCullum. My website is hollisjoemccullumauthor.com. If you like my podcast and you decide you want to be really nice to me, give it 5 stars. I'm trying really hard. And I hope that you see that, and I hope that you like the information that you're getting. So give me 5 stars on Spotify, on YouTube, or wherever you can. It helps me a lot, and it's free. And if you've read my books, please go on Amazon, go on Barnes & Noble, go on Goodreads, go on wherever you review books, and give me a review. That's another thing that, honestly, any book you read, please go review it somewhere. You have no idea, not just for me, all authors. You have no idea how much taking the time to write 3 sentences helps us. So it is the most important thing to do, and it is a free thing to do that honestly takes less than 2 minutes, depending on how you write reviews. But please, 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 give me reviews. Give me feedback. I hope that you've enjoyed. See you next time.